getting my brakes done, this is just so much nicer to ride. So much nicer. Because I know that I can actually stop. And the tyres are doing well as well with like hard braking and stuff. Piss off. I've not had the front wheel slip or anything. So yeah, been practicing a few emergency stops just to, you know, keep fresh. But yeah, no, really impressed with the, I mean, the brakes. So they're just off a standard GSXR750 standard, but OEM's better than fucked aftermarket ones anyway. Is that first or second? No, that's first, man. I really need a fucking gear indicator, man. So I desperately need one because I always fucking forget because I'm concentrating on everything else. Can't beat Hulk on acceleration, man. Hulk is a beast. Oh yeah, shit. So one of my, I fucking totally forgot. It's just come into my head, so I'll talk about it now. So one of my subscribers on YouTube, what the fuck is he doing? Weird. Yeah, so one of my subscribers on YouTube asked me about maintenance for a bike like this. So I'll just go through what I personally do myself. I'm not saying it's right or it's the best way to do it, but this is how I do it. So, because I use my bike a lot, you may see from my videos, I use my bike like a lot, and so I'm putting a lot of strain on a lot of the parts. So, you know, it's good to keep on top of maintenance. You know, the main bits that that you're going to be worrying about is like oil filter, air filter. You don't need to change it constantly, but I do keep an eye on it. I mean, I've got a lifetime one. I've got a oh fuck it, is it a K&N? I think it's K&N air filter. So you know, you can buy the oil and you clean it. So I do that like once every couple of months, like once every 4 months, say. I do the oil every sort of like 2.5 to 3,000 miles. Sometimes it's earlier. It really depends what's going on, because I use this bike all year round. So, hey, go on, lad. Also, things like your chain, your sprockets. I don't think there's a set mileage. I mean, I just look at condition, and I do thoroughly check my bike over every time I ride it. I'm very anal with that, because basically you've got a very small point of contact in the roads, i.e. the tyres being your footprint, and you know, you need to make sure those pressures are mint. You need to check that your chain's oiled and cleaned. You know, it's super important, but yeah, so they're just the general things. I mean, it's not a hassle. It's not like it's not really OCD. I mean, in the owner manual, I think on these they say up to like 3,500 do an oil change, but I like to do it 1,000 earlier. Just, I don't know, that's just me, you know. But you can go by what the manufacturer says. Like, fucking don't listen to people on the internet. Do you know what I mean? Just do what you think is best for your bike. But in my opinion, like, look, these are basically race bikes with fucking number plates and lights, yeah. So you got to treat it as such. Like, you know, you just got to really look after it. If you look after it, it will look after you, you know. Like, that's what it comes down to. If you neglect it and you just fucking leave everything and you never touch anything, it's going to break down, and it's, you know, it's not going to be a reliable thing to have in your life. It's going to cause you problems. But you know, like I grew up with cars. Like my granddad, my dad's, you know, fucking sports cars. You know, like my granddad drove a fucking R33 GTR V-Spec Skyline up until he was like fucking 85, and then they said they wouldn't insure him on it. Like, fucking legend, mate. Like, I want to be like that when I'm old, you know. But yeah, so I was always into my motors. But then after I sold my MR2 Turbo 1995, mint, 60,000 miles, nowadays it'd be worth about 25 to 30 grand. Gutted I sold it for 3.5 grand. But that was obviously years ago. That's what the going rate was for them. But you know, fuck. But yeah, I got priced out of the car market basically. Like, I couldn't afford fucking 30 grand for a car. Like, the cars I like, Japanese cars, you know, I couldn't afford it. And so I was like mega depressed, because cars were my life. Like, if I didn't have a car, I was fucked. So I always wanted a motorbike, but I never had the time or the money to do it. So when I got the time and that, I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to save up and I'm going to do it. Because I looked at bikes and I was like, wow, these fucking things are so cheap, man. Like, you could get a fucking bike, you could pay £1,000 for a fucking super bike. Like, yeah, it's going to need work, but you can buy it for £1,000. Like, you know. So I thought, well, you can get supercar performance for a couple of grand. Like, this can beat most cars, like supercars. It can. It'll beat most things on the road realistically. Up to about 100, 110, it'll beat most things on the roads. 120, it starts to slow down. It is down geared because it's more geared towards acceleration. I ain't bothered about the top speed. Like, top ends, like this has done 171 before. care more about the acceleration, 100%. So yeah, so that's what I've got it geared towards.